Don't be squirting water at me. I'm gonna f your girlfriend, pal.
The 80s were a wild time. It was the decade of insane hair full of hairspray, colorful clothes, Miami Vice, Stallone and Schwarzenegger, and most importantly, heavy metal.
Turn on the Priest. See, hear, and feel the power of Judas Priest live. A deluxe double album and special home video that capture all their greatest hits live. Priest Live. It's their most explosive performance ever. Specially priced on Columbia Records cassettes, CDs, and CBS Box video cassettes.
Judas Priest are one of the bands that influenced 80s metal the most. They were originally part of the new wave of British heavy metal, with bands such as Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Raven, Def Leppard, Diamond Head, Girls' School, and many more.
So we got a few thousand metal maniacs here today. Nice to see, we're gonna get straight on. This is the Green Manalishi with a 2-2.
It was one of the most important metal genres because it basically forms the main pillars of what heavy metal would become, resting on the shoulders of bands such as Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin.
Hungry for Rat? Dig into their new album, Invasion of Your Privacy, featuring the hit single Lay It Down. You know you really want to lay it down. And feast your eyes on Rat the Video, featuring Lay It Down plus 4 other Rat classics.
New wave of British heavy metal, Judas Priest was among the most important and influential bands. They were constantly pushing the limit and experimenting with new sounds. That's one of the reasons why none of their albums ever really sound the same. They are all different, and if you listen chronologically, you can hear this evolution in their music. And that's one of the reasons why they got so big and why they managed to become so iconic, in my opinion. Even albums such as Turbo, that supposedly wasn't received that positively by fans, still had a unique sound that was trying to be different.
Hi, I'm Rob Halford from Judas Priest, and I want you to ride through your neighborhood spreading the heavy metal word Priest style, and do it on this, my customized futuristic turbo cycle from our new video, Locked In. I'm going to give it away to one lucky viewer of MTV's Heavy Metal Mania, and all it takes is a postcard to this address.
The MTV Judas Priest Bike Giveaway. P.O. Box 899. Radio City Station, New York, New York, 10101.
Although I always thought it was strange when people claimed that certain albums had a bad reception despite them selling massive numbers. I mean, Turbo sold well, and who buys these records if not fans? This is a similar thing that I notice with most other bands and artists whenever they deviate slightly from their established sound.
Rob Halford of Judas Priest.
Step on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
Judas Priest, turbo, fuel for life.
It's 1986. Do you know where your children are? They're out burning on turbo power.
Judas Priest, turbo, fuel for life.
Judas Priest made badass metal. It was raw and heavy. The type of music you listen to when you're out raising hell, an unstoppable killing machine. And one of the reasons for why they sound so good is the style of singing that Rob Halford had, which is also similar to Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. A heavy metal sound that would go on to influence plenty of 80s bands such as Dokken, Queensryche, and even early Anthrax and Metallica.
Now, we are Judas Priest, your heavy metal host for tonight's edition of the Head Bangers Ball.
Darkness cooks. Sugar green, with a two-pronged brown.
While it wouldn't be true to say that Judas Priest invented heavy metal, since the genre did already exist when they came around, and especially when they got big, it is fair to say that Priest helped revolutionize the genre. They put a lot of emphasis on the heavy and visual side of it, and they managed to create a sound no one else had. 80s metal would have probably looked completely different without them or Iron Maiden, since a lot of 80s sound stands heavily on the shoulders of Priest and Maiden.
This final note. Now, once you started to get MTV, I bet you thought you had all the latest in stereo video music equipment. But hey, not quite. A Maryland man named Larry McCurdy has invented stereo iPhones, which he says are a must to go with your earphones. The iPhones reportedly block out all other light, and you see only tiny colored lights that flash along with the beat of the music. Far out. Sounds bizarre to me. Music. That's what we're about, not iPhones yet. Let's get back to it at MTV, Music Television.
Iron Maiden is one of the greatest heavy metal bands to ever walk the face of the earth. They are living metal gods that not only changed the entire genre, but also impacted heavy metal and its subculture in massive ways. There are few bands that can even dare compare themselves to Maiden, because everyone knows that this band is made up of living demons and rebels looking to headbang till the end of time.
What do today's young people really want?
Wanna rock! You wanna rock!
And it doesn't turn out to be much more complicated than that. If you had gone to Saturday's show looking for some exotic or subversive youth subculture, you'd have been disappointed. It was just energy, spectacle, and some teenage rebellion. And that's what rock and roll has always been about.
A lot of people don't know this, but Iron Maiden actually started out as a band within the new wave of British heavy metal.
You sending me cards and letters voting for your favorite metal videos of all time, and now MTV's giving them to you for Christmas. So ring out the holidays with me, Santa Snyder, and my surprise guest, as we count down the 20 most humongous videos ever on Heavy Metal Mania's Measure of Metal, Thursday night at 10, 9 Central on MTV. Watch it!
They were pioneers that blew everyone away, especially because early on they had a different singer before Bruce Dickinson took over. And while their sound was very similar to how they would sound in the 80s, there was a raw power that was different. Paul Di'Anno helped the band rise to glory because he used to be a punk rock singer, and he brought this punk attitude with him. It's also one of the reasons why a lot of heavy metal has a certain rebellious edge that's similar to punk rock. His voice wasn't clean, but it was rough and hardcore. It fit perfectly with the horror aesthetic that they had going on, and if I had to imagine how Eddie sounds like when he sings, I'd instantly think of Paul. In fact, I'm almost certain Paul and Eddie are the same person, because Eddie was like a mirror into a soul that was made out of pure badassery and metal power. I know there has been a lot of debate amongst fans on who the better singer is, Bruce or Paul. Personally, I think that they were both perfect for each period in Iron Maiden's life. They both contributed a lot and helped shape the band into the metal gods we know them as today. Bruce had a much more powerful and cleaner voice than Paul. He could hold notes longer and sing them much higher, while Paul always sounded like a rough rebel on the run from the law. They are both legendary.
I am the master of metal and I bring you.
You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too.
Bon Jovi.
Scorpion, Whitesnake, Accept, Motorhead, Rush, and Saxon. Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and Dio. Devastating, decibel-laden, no-messing metal from the master of metal. Get it now.
Iron Maiden might be the most iconic heavy metal band in history. Not only did they have an insane influence on the genre and thousands of other bands that would follow, especially in the 80s, but they also introduced a lot of elements that are now taken for granted.
Take an amazing voyage to somewhere in time. The new album from Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden. Catch them somewhere on tour, sometime in early 1987. Somewhere in time on Capitol.
The whole horror fantasy aesthetic was strongly popularized by them, and while they may not have been the first band to use those elements, they were by far the most successful and influential one. Later on, they also added a whole D&D aesthetic to their music, which is one of the reasons why a lot of 80s metal loves to sing about stuff like dragons, knights, warriors, witches, and magic. Iron Maiden helped develop this sound, and honestly, a large chunk of heavy metal would look completely different without Maiden.
More music for your eyes, more Sony Video 45s. You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. Heavy metal from Iron Maiden with Trooper and Number of the Beast. Run to the Hills. And Flight of Icarus. Own your favorite videos. Sony Video 45s. Available at record or video stores. Or call to order your Video 45 today.
It's thanks to them that the genre got this over-the-top, larger-than-life feeling and sound. They made music that was moving mountains and booming across the entire universe. Watching their shows is like watching a spectacle and witnessing something incredible. It's not just music, it's something that fills you up with metal energy and forces your entire body to rock and roll. Bruce Dickinson fit perfectly into the 80s because his voice was booming and resonated through entire arenas, almost like that of an opera singer. He gave Iron Maiden a larger-than-life sound, almost like they weren't from this world, which was honestly perfect because songs like The Trooper or Number of the Beast are simply not within Paul's vocal range.
You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. The feel the sounds, the time begins.
Paul, on the other hand, kept the band closer to his punk roots and also to the new wave of British heavy metal. Out of all the bands within that genre, Iron Maiden was the biggest by far, and they arguably helped shape it the most.
Warning, there's more heavy sounds on Axe Attack Volume 2 with Rainbow, Def Leppard, Scorpions and Whitesnake, Rush, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Gillan, Motorhead, and the best of the rest on this amazing album, Axe Attack Volume 2, out now from K-Tel.
Just like Saxon, Maiden popularized the whole battle jackets and denim look, but they also helped heavy metal stand out and turn into its own thing. They gave metal and metal hats a voice that made them unique and a sort of new counterculture. What I also really love about Iron Maiden is how their sound is strongly tied to their mascot, Eddie the Mummy, or whatever metal-made creature he's supposed to be. I honestly can't even think about the band without instantly having a picture of Eddie pop into my head. It feels like their music is almost defined by him, and like you can't have Iron Maiden without him. It just wouldn't be the same because he also perfectly symbolizes the heavy metal spirit. Raw, dangerous, and aggressive.
Honey, it's getting close to midnight. The sun is creeping in the sky. I was a young man full of hopes and dreams. Sometimes things ain't what they seem. Set me free. Stranger than stranger.
To me, Iron Maiden will always be one of the greatest heavy metal bands in history. The impact and influence they had was massive, and their music will live on forever. They are living legends who, just like Eddie, will continue headbanging even when they're gone.
There goes the siren that warns out the air raid. Fly to live, live to fly. Of a world that is Anthony Raymond.
Virtually everybody I know who's seen one of our shows expecting some sort of social curse or dreaded, some sort of phenomenon that's going to corrupt the morals of their town, what they see is 7,000 or 10,000 young kids, and people really from 15 to 25, having a great time, enjoying themselves with a show that delivers a lot of value for money.
Turn it on, leave it on. I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
See new video music you can't see anywhere else. New interviews, new concerts, new guests,
DJ,
new specials. There's always something new on MTV, 24 hours a day on cable TV.
Too much. What? Yeah, too much.
Never.
Too much is never enough.
Ronnie James Dio is one of the most legendary heavy metal singers to ever walk the face of the earth. His voice had an insane range and originality to it, influencing the entire genre in profound and extreme ways. Few singers at the time had his vocal strength, and even to this day, he still remains one of the most iconic and original voices. But Dio did a lot more than just influence the singing style of 80s heavy metal. He helped shape heavy metal into the genre we know today.
It's
Most people today, especially modern metal fans, don't realize just how much Dio impacted and influenced the genre. Even before his best known album, Holy Diver, he was already making a name for himself in bands such as Black Sabbath and Rainbow, creating some of the best and most iconic songs and albums they ever had. Heaven and Hell is a good example of his impact, as he not only helped create a killer album, but also prevented Black Sabbath from drifting into irrelevance or breaking up. Dio joined the band shortly after they fired Ozzy due to his extreme substance abuse, reckless and unreliable behavior, which was a very bold move, as he was one of the main reasons why people wanted to see the band. He might not have been the best singer, but he was a great showman, and his stage presence made shows a lot more fun. Firing him meant the band now had to find someone equally as good, if not better, or be the last in line for future success.
Warning, there's more heavy sounds on Axe Attack Volume 2 with Rainbow, Def Leppard, Scorpions and Whitesnake, Rush, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Gillan, Motorhead, and the best of the rest on this amazing album, Axe Attack Volume 2, out now from KTEL.
Before Dio joined Sabbath, he also used to play in Rainbow, and it's because of him that the early albums of that band had a lot of fantasy and occult elements. He later left because Rainbow wanted to go into a more mainstream direction and viewed fantasy as too childish and not serious enough. Ronnie James, being the legend that he is, decided to fuck all of them and start his own band, named Dio, a band that would go on to impact music history in ways that Rainbow never could, even though I still consider Rainbow an amazing and important band.
Every night I have the same old dream. So many changes, so many lives. Another dark and empty night.
But Dio, being so fascinated with fantasy elements such as the Lord of the Rings, dragons, knights and demons, ended up having a massive impact on 80s heavy metal and pop culture at the time. Even today, a lot of genres love to use such imagery, most notably power metal, which views Dio among one of its biggest inspirations, next to bands such as Iron Maiden, Queensryche and Judas Priest. I don't even think power metal would be as successful or fun if it wasn't for Dio's massive contributions. A lot of albums, movies and pop culture elements in the 80s started using dragons and knights on their covers or feature them in movies such as Conan the Barbarian or Red Sonja. Seriously, look at the movie posters for the Conan franchise with Arnold and tell me that they don't look metal as fuck.
Enough talk.
Even music videos began to implement these fantasy elements, which almost always look cheesy and cheap, but that's what makes them so great and fun in my opinion. One of my favorite examples is the Queensryche EP with their first music video called Queen of the Reich. It pretty much sums up that period and genre perfectly. Dio doubled down heavily on all of that when he released his most iconic album, Holy Diver. While I wouldn't say that this album created heavy metal, as that honor goes to bands like Deep Purple and Black Sabbath all the way back to the late 60s and 70s, it's fair to say that Holy Diver is one of the most important albums ever made in terms of style, instrumentals, and lyrics. There is a reason why so many rock bands in the 80s had a very operatic singing style, sort of like mixing opera singing with heavy guitars and power chords. Iron Maiden, for example, was a big influence on that style, as Bruce Dickinson's voice boomed through entire arenas and could hold high notes for a long time, while other singers crumbled or could barely even sing live. Holy Diver was extremely successful, and it was also the first Dio album to feature the iconic demon battling a priest. It might be one of the most, if not the most iconic metal album covers ever made. But what makes this even more legendary is that this cover and Dio's live concert appearances are the reasons why the Devil's Horns are associated with rock music.
I guess you could say that I'm rather interested in dreams. I do write about them all the time in the music that I make. Positive dreams that can and will come true if you believe in them, but more importantly, in yourself. But if you let drugs steal the magic from your dreams, you'll soon have nothing but nightmares. Drugs and dreams, they don't mix.
To me, Dio will always be one of the most legendary and amazing musicians of all time. Not just because of his contributions to heavy metal, but also because of his influence on pop culture and music in general. His lyrics were amazing and almost had that certain poetic side to them that many others didn't have.
Warning, this album is loud and heavy. Axe Attack with UFO. Black Sabbath. Axe Attack with Gillan. Rainbow. Axe Attack with AC/DC, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Whitesnake, and the best of the rest on this incredible album, Axe Attack from K-Tel.
Saxon is one of the most influential heavy metal bands of the late 70s and 80s. Denim, leather, and headbanging rebels riding motorbikes and shredding guitars like no one else. They were one of the most important creative forces within the new wave of British heavy metal, and they can be easily credited as one of the major bands to shape heavy metal as we know it and help cause its boom within the mainstream. They had a raw energy that was only found within the new wave of British heavy metal. Raw, pure, no bullshit heavy metal. You hear Saxon and you just wanna head bang, lose control and go wild. They have this rare ability to make metal music that is simply perfect in every single aspect. The vocals are clean and powerful, but can at the same time also shift between sounding rough and hard. The guitar cuts like a knife, it's hard and you can still hear the hard rock influences of the genre. It's fast but precise and it kicks you in the balls harder than anything else you've heard. You listen to Saxon and you can feel their energy and raw power come over you. It makes you want to create lots of battle jackets because this music is made for a heavy metal army. Which is, by the way, literally true, as Saxon were among the very first bands worn as patches on battle jackets, back when they became a common thing. Within heavy metal at least, the new wave of British heavy metal started the whole idea of metalheads wearing band shirts, jackets, patches and other outfits to differentiate themselves from other subgenres.
Warning, there's more heavy sounds on Axe Attack Volume 2 with Rainbow, Def Leppard, Scorpions and Whitesnake, Rush, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Gillan, Motorhead, and the best of the rest on this amazing album, Axe Attack Volume 2, out now from KTEL.
Punks, mods, skinheads, etc. had their own thing going on back in the 70s, and when you saw them, you could easily tell what genre they were part of. But metal didn't really have that, especially since the genre was still very young, not even a decade old. And no one really called it that until the new wave of British heavy metal came along. It didn't really have a name early on, but people were already noticing significant differences in sound from the bands that were new back then, such as Saxon, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Motorhead, Girls' School, Tigers of Pang, and many more.
I think it's a bit unusual for a heavy metal band that they love tea.
Oh, we love tea. We thrive on tea.
You do?
But it's got something in it. Sugar.
The whole image of heavy metal being full of guys in leather, denim and boots has been strongly popularized by Saxon. While they didn't exactly invent this look or were the first or only band to use it, they were one of the earliest to emphasize it. They even have albums and songs that are literally just about these guys wearing denim and leather while causing fear and chaos anywhere they go. Judas Priest basically invented the whole leather look, but it was Saxon that put a lot of attention into the whole jeans jacket and biker boots image. To me, Saxon is basically the perfect soundtrack for every badass biker that was around back then, and it's easy to see why they were so popular with bikers in particular.
Metal. Accept no substitute. Accept. Accept. Balls to the wall. On portrait now. Saxon's hard rock crusade destroys America. Saxon. Crusader on Career now.
It's crazy just how many other bands Saxon inspired. They basically shaped a massive part of the 80s metal sound. And I mean specifically the pure heavy metal sound, not glam or what you had in the mainstream. Although even there, you can see the denim roots that Saxon planted.
MTV presents another exclusive world premiere commercial? Michael Jackson's Pepsi commercial for the first time anywhere in the world. The man who stars in it and the man who made it. Another exclusive presentation, Monday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific, on MTV Music Television.
It's crazy to me just how much Saxon shaped the sound of early heavy metal, and especially the way 80s bands sounded. A lot of them even name Saxon as their major inspiration, and Spinal Tap, the fictional metal band, was also based on Saxon. But despite that, and despite how important the band was, they never really got the recognition they deserved. And I'm not talking financially, since they sold over 23 million records worldwide, which is a lot. Personally, I blame it on MTV and similar programs that put more emphasis on a band looking great on camera and in photos. Even in the 80s, Saxon wasn't exactly seen as a young band. They weren't old, but certainly older than most other metal bands, and they also didn't have the look MTV was going for. Their videos weren't flashy or exciting, and the band members looked more like your dad rather than the bad boy image bands like Motley Crue or Red were projecting. 70s and 80s, Saxon managed to stay extremely consistent. They released 20 albums and the quality is always amazing. It's like the band knows exactly what the fans want and delivers all the time, instead of changing genres or trying to experiment too much. That's not to say that they always sound the same or that they never try new things. They definitely do try to add new things to each album, but they do it in a way that doesn't feel sudden or extreme. I also want to mention just how damn cool and metal their album artworks look. I mean, seriously, this band may have some of the most badass artworks I've ever seen. They also perfectly capture the sound and feeling of every album. To me, Saxon is one of the greatest heavy metal bands to ever walk the face of the earth. They are legends and living metal gods, and one of the reasons why metal got big in the first place.
Master of metal, and I bring you. You'll take my life, but I'll take yours too. Bon Jovi. Scorpion. Whitesnake, Accept, Motorhead, Rush, and Saxon. Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, and Dio. Devastating, decibel-laden, no-messing metal from the Master of Metal. Get it now.
Metallica is one of the greatest metal bands to ever walk the earth. They are the most successful and best-selling metal band, even outselling and outplaying legendary giants such as Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. They are the kings of thrash metal and arguably the most important and influential band within the thrash metal genre. They're still going strong, but their greatest and most important era was the 80s, because 80s Metallica was on a whole nother level, thrashing and causing hell on earth like no other band.
Megadeth. The band features Dave Mustaine, formerly of Metallica, and he won't let us forget it either.
The 80s had a lot of great music, but the rock and roll and metal genres especially were booming, and I call it the height of rock and roll.
You
When Metallica arrived at the scene, no one expected them to become as big as they did and influence the genre as much, not to mention create an entire new subgenre. They were wild, constantly causing chaos, drinking more than they could handle, and playing like wild demons. As much as I personally dislike most of the stuff that Metallica put out after And Justice for All, I have to give them credit for the fact that they always are experimenting with genres and sounds. Most of their albums sound unique and distinct from each other, and you can hear the evolution of their sound or the change of it in every album. Some bands manage to keep their sanity by always playing the same type of music for decades, but it's great to see that Metallica has always made an effort to evolve, and that's exactly why they ended up being the most successful metal band of all time. '80s Metallica managed to get so good and popular because they were trying to create something new, something mind-blowing and shocking. Kill 'Em All is one of the greatest metal albums of all time, and I'd honestly argue that it's even better than Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets, even though I love both of those a lot. But Kill 'Em All has a certain raw sound that is different from anything else they have put out. This album, in my mind, is the beginning of thrash metal, the way we know it now. Obviously, thrash has roots that are older than Metallica, and there were other bands that influenced the genre a lot, such as Anthrax or Slayer, but none of those bands ever came close to Metallica in terms of lyrical quality, vocal range, or instrumentals. Listening to Kill 'Em All, you can also hear the strong Motorhead and new wave of British metal influences. Songs like The Phantom Lord sound almost like something that Motorhead could have played themselves, and it's amazing to see James put his own spin on the sound. It's interesting how Metallica's first demo, before it turned into Kill 'Em All, sounded closer to Judas Priest or Iron Maiden rather than what it ended up being. James Hetfield's voice was much higher, cleaner, and nowhere near as rough or iconic as it would later sound. To me, that's also what defines their original signature sound, which was all about simple but fast riffs. It's also one of those things that made them feel much more relatable. A lot of metal bands at the time, and even today, have the tendency to create overly complex songs that feel more like the band members are trying to show off rather than make something that will keep living rent-free in your head long after you heard it. Metallica made music that not only felt raw and sincere, their riffs were also something that wasn't too hard to learn. Anyone with a bit of practice could learn most of Kill 'Em All relatively fast, which is not necessarily something you can say about many other bands that have more solos than lyrics in their songs. Metallica as a band has always been in a realm and league of their own. When I think of thrash metal, especially 80s thrash, they are the first band that comes to mind and the first band that I'd rather be listening to. Other bands within the genre back then and even today think that thrash and metal, no matter which subgenre, are all about being heavy, constant solos and chugging those power chords. But that's not really what it's all about. As much as thrash was a reaction to hair metal, trying to be more serious and grounded, back in the 80s, thrash and hair metal had more in common than they'd admit, and I know that saying something like this will sound like heresy even today. But the truth of the matter is that Metallica back in the 80s was all about making innovative, original and experimental music. Their lyrics were definitely much more serious and mature than the average hair metal song, but they also never forgot how to have fun and didn't take themselves too seriously.
Drink?
Yeah, do you have any tea?
Tea?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's good for the day after, morning after. Check that out.
Is
right
coffee
there.
okay?
What?
Coffee okay?
Yeah, no, just get me a beer.
Metallica's live concerts were all about having fun and a good time. They wanted to make the earth shake and keep your head banging. This is something that the modern metal community struggles a lot with today. People get called posers just because they don't always want to write dark and depressing songs or because their outfits might not be metal enough. Ghost gets called posers because apparently looking like a death metal band but sounding like Black Sabbath or Deep Purple makes you a poser and not heavy metal, despite the fact that Deep Purple and Black Sabbath are the literal founding fathers of the genre. It's crazy because even back in the 80s, Metallica was being called posers by people within the community, especially after they released Ride the Lightning, which featured songs such as Fade to Black that dared to have acoustic guitars and was a much slower, much more emotional experience.
Hardcore metal fans and they say, quote, Metallica have sold out. What's your response to something like that?
I think you could do it on the TV here. Yeah, we're not too worried about them. We do what we want to do, you know. If they consider that selling out, then whatever. There's a lot of people think you sold out just because you're on a major label and are very popular. Or maybe you don't play 1,000 miles an hour the whole time, or, you know. I mean, we'd be doing the same thing if we were still on, you know, independent label.
I personally can't wrap my head around anyone who would have seen Metallica perform songs such as Seek and Destroy or The Four Horsemen live and then turn around and call them posers or sellouts because some of their songs have an emotional and more mellow melody and sound. It's this gatekeeping that is harming the community and destroying it. It's the main reason why rock and metal have mostly disappeared from mainstream music, and we honestly deserve it when 50 or 60-year-old bands keep receiving music awards every year for playing the same music, while new bands and singers get sidelined, ignored, or insulted for trying to change the genre, be it in terms of sound or values. The metal community has forgotten that metal used to be a genre that was constantly evolving and changing, and this counts for most other rock genres as well. They're just stuck in a cycle of doing the same thing over and over. I mean, just look at most heavy metal festivals and the bands headlining them. Most of them are ancient as hell, long past their prime, with people only wanting to see them due to nostalgia. Metallica will always be one of the most legendary and iconic bands because they created a sound that had never been heard before. They made metal faster, heavier, louder, thrashier, and much more raw. It's crazy watching live footage of Metallica from the 80s when these guys were still kids and teenagers, hammering away on their guitars like wild metal demons, putting even more experienced musicians at the time to shame. I mean, James literally still had a face full of acne, and I doubt anyone at the time ever thought that these guys would end up being one of the heaviest and most influential bands in metal history. Metallica will forever be the masters of heavy metal puppets.